Workshop meeting to order of December 13th, 2012.
I'll second that motion.
Salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence for the military that's serving in this country and around the world. Thank you. The exit is in the back on your left, our right. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Here.
Councilwoman Perotti? Here. Councilman Haas?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. And Supervisor Flood?
Here. Public comments first.
Robbie Boyles?
Yes. I have a letter from the chairman of the Board of Wausau Fire District Commissioners. I've got a situation I've been addressing the board probably for 10 years now, on and off. Back when I was early when the supervisor, Tom, and whoever it was. There's a major crisis. We had to take our ambulance out of service, so lack of manpower. So we got one ambulance in the town of Amenia at this present time, at the volunteer level, of course. And I have a letter for you. Looking for some input from the town, have a meeting with the town board to address this situation. You're welcome to read the letter. Supervisor wants to read it, so the public knows what's going on.
Thank you.
Any questions? Feel free to ask.
December 13th, 2012, Supervisor Flood, Town Board, Town of Amenia. Dear Supervisor Flood and members of the board, the time has come to address an ongoing problem that has been evolving and addressed many times over the past few years. Now is the time for this situation to be recognized and dealt with to ensure the health and safety of residents and taxpayers within the Wausau Fire District, as well as the town of Amenia. The situation and issue at hand is the current EMS situation or lack thereof. Recently at the Wausau Fire District was forced to take their ambulance out of service due to a lack of manpower and the inability of the ambulance to respond to calls within our district. In recent Northern Dutchess paramedics have been responding to those calls within our district. The situation has reached a point now where it is time for the town board and the supervisors to become involved, recognize the problem, and work towards a solution to the benefit of everyone. The Board of Commissioners of the Wausau Fire District and the District Chief would like to request an immediate special meeting with the town board and Supervisor Flood to address the situation. Please contact Chairman Robert Boyles at 845-373-8631 to set up this meeting. Your prompt attention and responses is appreciated. Respectfully submitted, Robert Boyles, Chairman, Board of Fire Commissioners, Wausau Fire District. I will tell you that I've been involved with this for a while. I've reached out to your Kathy at the EMS services. I spoke to her after I received your letter, was it 2 weeks ago? We got your letter. You were in my office. I'd also reached out months ago to, what's the guy in Millerton? Lenny Morrison, who's the county coordinator, and I've never ever heard back from him. I've spoke to Robert Satori also, who is part of another whatever he does for the county. I've never heard a word from either one of them. So at this point, we have tried to reach out to them. I did speak to Northern Dutchess Ambulance, a rescue service. I also spoke to three other rescue services and asked them for their input as to what we can do and what we can't do. I did speak to Northern Dutchess the other day. Obviously, they're running your calls at this point, so there will be no one without rescue service, and I believe Amenia is also running as a backup service too.
Yeah,
right?
Mutual aid,
Mutual aid, right? And Dover too. So we are covered on the short term.
Correct.
Correct. Part of the issue is that we have is that you've already adopted your budget, and so we have to wait a year to do whatever we're going to do to pay for it, because obviously it's billed to the district. So that's an issue that we have to deal with also, that we're, I don't know if you can modify a budget. I don't know if that can be done. I don't know.
Let me clarify something. It's at no obligation, is it up to the fire district to provide the ambulance service?
Who owns the ambulance now?
The fire district owns the ambulance, yes.
Correct. It's under my impression that you own it. It's your service to do it, not a town service.
Okay. What we need to do, this is what I would suggest, is to try to get a town-wide ambulance service, do a ambulance district instead of a fire district, have an ambulance district for the whole town. It'd be a start, and what I suggested to Tom Lejeune probably 10 years ago, whatever it was to get, the town should get their own agency number through the Department of Health, which is free. And that's a big starting point, so you get your own agency number. That way you can start an ambulance service if need be. Somewhere along the line, the taxpayers are going to have to pay for the ambulance service, no matter if it comes from the town tax, the fire district tax, wherever it comes from. Somewhere along the line, the taxpayer is going to have to pay. Fortunately, because there's not enough volunteers, it's a dying breed. That's reality.
There's no question.
You know, and I don't want to be the bad guy about the situation, but this is reality of it. And you know it as well as I do, Bill, as being a former fire chief. It's a dying breed. And we're to the point now where we have no more volunteers to run our ambulance. So we come here to address it with you, with the town, and we want to have a joint meeting with the fire district and the town.
Both fire districts,
I can't,
if we can.
if you can, I can't speak for Amenia Fire District, I can speak for Wasake's fire districts and the spokesperson for them.
Do you feel that we can do a combination of volunteers and pay, or no?
I think we need to meet and
I
discuss
think we need
options.
to discuss options, is correct, you know.
We're not going to solve anything tonight.
No, by no
Just
means.
a question.
I don't know, Bill. I really don't know if you can have a combination thing like that. But I think the start is to get an ambulance district started. That's just my personal opinion, and I you know, I think that's just a stride in the right direction. So what could happen if you had an ambulance district? You could bill. As a fire district, we can't bill. That's the law. So if you had your own grade, your own ambulance district, you can bill third-party billing and so forth like that to offset the cost of the tax base.
It'll offset the cost because you're charging the people that use the ambulance, not. I mean, the district would still have to pay a smaller fee instead of the bigger fee. If you start an ambulance district, then the town can bill who uses the ambulance.
Okay.
So
How soon could we set up a meeting? Because I think, you know, we
we're in a
have,
crisis. We are. That's what I'm
right,
trying to get at.
so
Sounds,
I don't know if it's possible before the end of the year.
If anything's possible.
Yeah.
well, I'm available anytime, so anytime they come up with a day or time, I'll be there.
That's what I'm here for, to ask you what date and time you want to do it.
Well, I think Amenia should be involved too.
Sure, they have to be.
Yeah. Is there, no one's here from?
I think between both rescue squads, you do about 600 calls a year, give or take.
Give or take.
Give or take.
Yeah.
I think that's what I checked with the county, and it's give or take about 600 calls.
Yeah, I would say, you know, we have to do something as soon as possible and listen to some ideas, because I don't know an awful lot about how all of this comes together and how you all work. So I think a meeting even next week to discuss it,
Sure.
if that's a possibility.
What's available next week?
You tell me.
I've got anything available all next week, other than the town board meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Oh,
much
I've got
free.
I'm pretty
Monday
much free.
night, Monday
Huh?
night's out. The 17th's out, I've got 18th, 19th, and 21st.
How about you, CJ?
I can do the same.
I'm available anytime. You want to do the 18th?
Tuesday night sounds great.
Yeah.
Tuesday, like
17th is the only day I'm not available. That's
6
Monday.
o'clock?
On the 18th? Yeah, let's do it.
That's fair enough.
Do you want to reach out to Amenia and see if...
I would suggest that you do it as a town supervisor.
Okay.
Is there someone else we should include?
Oh, I'd invite the Board of Fire Commissioners of Amenia, the Chief of Amenia, Rescue Squad, Captain of Amenia.
And DP, do we include them, or?
No,
No.
well, the problem you have is you can't
No, you can't.
specify a paid agency at this present time, because you may have to put some other bid or something like that. You see what I'm saying? You should know, you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
I'm
That's
just
what I'm
asking,
saying.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know what the limits are here.
Yeah, that's the
so-
limits on it.
Okay.
It's, you know, it's like, if you have to put something on the bid, you can't specify one, you know,
Exactly.
so, you know how that goes, so.
So the 18th at what time? 6?
6.
O'clock, okay. That's all I have. You got anything else, chief?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anybody else for public comments?
No.
Highway report?
We finally got the DEC permit for cleaning out the swamp, the wetlands behind Fudgies, which that's where all the water from Broadway goes. We started this project back in June or July, but we finally got the permit. We got that done last Friday. Looks pretty good, so I think DEC is going to be happy with us. Today we went around and started picking up some of the garbage alongside the road before the snow covers it. So we'll be picking up garbage until it snows. The roads they're not that bad, but still a lot of little garbage.
Where are you taking the garbage to?
Transfer station.
Okay. And they accepting it for free? Are they you doing your tickets? Or?
I don't know if we even took it there. We got some on the truck that we picked up today,
Uh-huh.
so we'll find out. Find that out tomorrow, hopefully.
They'll take it.
Should they be taking it?
Yeah, they'll take it.
Well, I think they had expressed willingness to help us with our cleanup days. It's been a tradition that if you find roadside trash and you're a volunteer, or we're trying to keep it, that they were willing to do that. It's
Okay.
worth a try.
That's all I have. Questions?
Thank you very much for putting up the 2 trees, getting the trees for us for Holiday of Lights, and all the work that you did to help us get ready for that. The bonfire was great. Really, really good. Thank you.
Yeah, it was great.
Very nice.
Okay.
And we'll, unfortunately on this thing, it doesn't show an executive session, but we're gonna talk about Willow Lane
Okay. Later
afterwards.
on?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you want to hang around.
Just one thing, did Denti call you about doing soil borings yet?
No.
Because I gave him
no.
your cell and your
I
office.
will call them tomorrow. I'll give them a call.
Okay, that would be good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Committee reports,
No. Town clerk?
or town clerk,
No, nothing.
nothing. Committee reports?
We had a May Jones. We had a water committee meeting on December 5th. And I'm happy to report that, well, number one, we successfully hydrofracted, and it went online today, and it's yielding 40 gallons per minute.
Good.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I believe Mark will get you the permit for Laval Road for well number 4A, and it has to be concluded, closed out. Are you familiar with that?
We've hired, Laval Road, I know we've hired, there's been a permit that was issued by the DEC to do the work. That has expired, I think, twice. So we met with Pete Sotero from the engineering company, and he is going to meet, who did the original one.
Yes.
Stanley and Pete were there the other day. We did some other stuff here also, but they're going to reapply and get that reinstated, so we can get that done.
Okay, good. And we talked about hiring an engineer to evaluate the water system. And we have to eventually start the RPZ program. That's the backflow prevention cross-examination program for the commercial and residential property. And we also need 10 yards of soil for the cone depressions around wells 5 and 6, so that the water doesn't go in when it rains. And that's about it. I have a question.
This year, we ran in the black as far as our budget went. Will that money go towards the capital fund, or
It's already been done?
it has been done? Good. Is there going to be a reduction in the taxes for people in the water district, or is it about the same as last year?
It's about the same as last year.
Thank you.
And then the RPZ, we have a thing, I don't, did I send that to you? I don't think I did. All right, that's something that we have to, you have to take a look at. There's a proposal for RPZs, but it's also something that the building department can do also.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at, to see what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Arlene Juliano, town historian. See, you have on the agenda the grant, because I did receive from the William Pomeroy Foundation their approval of a grant in the amount of $1,050 to the town of Amenia for a approval of a new marker at historic marker at the kiln site down in Marseille. And I did give Bill a copy of that. And I see you have it on the agenda. But I also have, and I didn't give you this, Bill, and you may have it and you may need it. But I had, early in the process, I had contacted Chuck Walter for, in regards to, because of town, you know, the state highway. New York State Highway is where this marker is at least adjacent to, we're going to be on, or private property or what have you. Anyway, I do have some material from him, and I don't know if you have it. It gives a little more no, okay.
No.
Gives a little more explanation of their involvement in this process and what we have to do. But in summary, this is what Chuck says. Please see attached information as to what the signs will be cast in, and I'm not knowledgeable about all this terminology, right? But it's the blue and yellow sign, like that one up there. That is the award. The money is awarded for. The installation must be as per the manual of uniform traffic control devices. I have some information here. You may have more. The sign must be installed outside the clear zone of the highway. You must apply for and obtain a highway work permit prior to working on or near the New York State right-of-way. So there's other things that go with this. Nothing is that easy, right? On the other hand, so we may want to talk about that when you're talking about this, or else you may want copies of this. I didn't copy it. I should have.
No, that's okay. Just drop us off some copies, because we can get the work permit's not that big a deal, right? To put up a sign for the state highway? I know, but it's not that big a deal. No.
There's really 4 pages here. I love this list. But anyway, there is more information, more things that had to be checked into. It may require, in this instance, the approval of the property owner. It may not. It all depends on just, you know, the exact location of this sign along the side of the road, which...
Does that have to be on a state road or town road?
Yeah.
Can it be?
As far as I know, the state road. That's where it would certainly be able to be seen.
Okay.
You don't want to have to turn off into Deep Hollow, I don't think. The idea is to identify it there, so that and to know that the kilns are there, and that they are. In this instance, we had quite a go around with the sign, with what should be on the sign, and I had to do, get quite a bit of documentation for that, which is all right. It worked out. The foundation is the one who wrote the signage wording that they have submitted on this approval letter. Sounds all right to me. But you guys will have to, you want to Whether you want to get involved in that much or not, I don't know. But anyway, we could get it. I don't know if $1,000 covers the cost or not. That I don't know, you know. And it's up to you if you want to do it, not me. Right?
Okay.
I remember, did you send, you know, you've got the approval letter, it needs a signature within 30 days.
Correct. I'll read the letter. Dear Arlene, I'm pleased to inform you that the William C. Pomeroy Foundation has approved the grant in the amount of $1,050 to the town of Amenia, subject to our receipt of this signed letter of agreement, approval of a new marker text, letter of agreement conditions. The grant is to be used solely for the historic marker program as described in your 2013 application, but with new marker text. The enclosed publicity release form must be returned to the foundation within 30 days of this letter. If any media coverage is scheduled to feature this marker, you must notify the foundation in advance. If a dedication ceremony is scheduled for this marker, you must notify the foundation at least 3 weeks prior. Upon installation, a photo of the marker will be provided to the foundation. Photo should be taken so the inscription can be clearly read in the photograph. Grantee warrants or represents that its receipt of this grant will not adversely affect grantor status as other than a private foundation with the meaning of Section 509A of the Internal Revenue Code. Any funds not used for the specific purpose of this grant must be returned to the William C. Pomeroy Foundation unless otherwise authorized in writing. Please sign the agreement, the foregoing terms and conditions by having an authorized party sign and return this letter within 30 days. Upon receipt, we'll issue a check in the amount cited above, as well as instructions regarding approved sign styles and ordering procedures. Please do not order your marker before receiving this information. On behalf of the William C. Pomeroy Foundation, I may extend our wishes for your continued success in providing cultural education, preserving local history. Yours truly, Paula A. Miller, Executive Director, the William G. Pomeroy Foundation. And what's approved is a Wasake Iron, Reed, Gridley and Company Iron Works in business by 1829, 2 Beehive charcoal kilns associated with Iron Works, all that remain in 2012.
It's up to you. It was hard to get the proof on the date, even though every history book source we know tends to use a certain year. 1825, that was not necessarily satisfy them because that was when the business started under Reed and Gridley. But when those kilns were built, they weren't quite sure. But I did ultimately give them the proof that satisfied them. So that's why the year 1829 is used. But this particular grant had to, and the award of it was based on the time period of 1890 to 1790 to 1850. So whatever we were was being sought to be have this kind of signage would have to fall within that time period. So I did satisfy it.
Congratulations for submitting that and getting that approved.
Well,
it was very nice. Very nice effort.
I'm not the best grant writer in the world, but they were very nice. I actually could talk to somebody, which is always helpful for someone like me, you know, my generation. But there was a really great gal there who I could talk to, and we talked back and forth. I sent things to her, not only in the email, but by mail. Anyway, to make a long story short, if you want it, we got it. At least we got the money. That's up to you. The other thing is on November 15th, I attended a kind of a reception for Will Tatum, who is now our Dutchess County historian. And I think you've heard from a fair amount from Mike Kelsey. Is Mike here? Mike Kelsey, who has really been, and Mark Molyneux. They've been working to get a Dutchess County historian, those two people specifically, the whole county. But anyway, they did have a reception. I did go. It was over in the FDR Library and Museum. And I got a chance to meet him and bring him some books of the town of Amenia. He's got more books on the town of Amenia than he's got on any other town in the Dutchess County at this point. And I thank some of it for
thanks to the Historic Society, some thanks to me and the schoolhouse. But anyway, one of the first projects, he has an ad hoc committee working on projects, meaning Will. There's a group working with him headed by Tom Usher from, I think he's Beekman historian. And one of their first projects is to have a photographic book based on the same, I meant to bring it, that the Poughkeepsie Journal has been publishing for the last 2 or 3 years, pictorial history of the Hudson Valley. In this instance, they want to do for the 300 years worth of government in Dutchess County, in each town and city. Each town and city can participate in this particular program, in this particular book, which will, as I said, mostly photos, minimal narrative, but some narrative about the government in the town or city. From 1713 to 2013, that's where they come up with the 300 years anniversary. This is how they're labeling it as the project. But I did talk to Tom Usher. I said, Amenia will be involved. I put my, best to my ability, I'll try to get us in that book. There's only about 3 or 4 pages. It's, you know, obviously with 22 towns, 22 municipalities, whatever, in Dutchess County. Anyway, but I have great hopes of us being a part of that book, which means I have to do some research. Have already started a little bit with the Historical Society, Ginny Eschbach. Great, right on, right? And also some of the local people I've contacted and hope by this particular video that more people will respond. Now, we're not talking about many pages. We're talking about maybe 8 to 12 pictures, in which we're going to cover 300 years. On the other hand, that's not too difficult in the first couple hundred to find pictures. On the other hand, the Historic Society does have some. But I have some documentation or pictures that I can use. But I am looking for them from people who either were in office, had relatives in office, already contacted Charlotte, and to see if there's anything that they can and would like to have included. The next thing is for me to get those pictures copied and back to you. And that's where I have the problem, but I'll seek advice on that. I've already, you know, how to do that this way. But I do have plans to participate, and I hope, you know, to the best of our ability, I'll get us in that book.
Good.
But, and I've talked to Patty. She may have some information, you know. Again, the narrative is going to be short. It's going to be pictures with blurbs underneath, you know, basically. And so it's the pictures that I really need. And I don't see Pat Nelligan. He's got relatives. Joe McEnroe and Bob Lynn was, in other words, again, I mean, we may end up concentrating on the 20th century because that's where we're going to have most of the, you know, potential pictures. But I am seeking, and we'll have some others too over that 300-year period. And this, so they're right off and running, the Dutchess County historian and his group. And they're going, another thing that he is going to do is have quarterly meetings with those of us who are historians, representatives from historic societies and other historic groups. That was the kind of group that was present in November when I went there. We had good representation. I just wrote an article for the Hometowner explaining some of this a little bit, so I'm trying to get the word out. Sounds like the deadline, and I say sounds like, and that's my word, you know, late spring, maybe by April 1st. So we've got a little time, but not that much. But I know, but I do need, if anybody has anything in there hidden away, you know, people who were in government in the town of Amenia, over the last 300 years. And I do have somebody who has somebody in, has supervisor as a relative in the 1800s. So anyway, but that's two things that are on the front burner here. The grant and the pictorial history that is being coordinated by the Dutchess County historian and this committee. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene, for
Thank you.
handling Holiday of Lights crafts table for historic decorations.
Okay. Next I have is the transfer station, which the new one has opened at the Welch site, which seems to be doing okay. I've been there several times. We've gotten several calls and people are very happy with it. I don't know if anybody else has heard anything.
Wonderful reports so far.
That's all I've heard is
Yeah,
so
they're
far.
very helpful, they're very understanding, they've given flexible time frames for us to get our new permits. The permits are $10, not $60, so that's already right up front a big savings. Big
And then we're
savings.
working with, Ian is working with the Welch's attorney, correct, to work out with, because we have some issues with some existing
Permits.
permits and tickets that we're gonna, that they're working out, so that'll be done shortly.
What are they working out?
Well, we're either gonna reimburse them or reimburse Welch.
I
Right,
think
I
it's
believe-
up to the town board. It should be
That's what I would think.
a simple.
Well, that's what I would think, but
solution.
they were gonna talk about it first, so that's
Yeah,
right.
I can, I didn't have a chance to call Jim Constantino. I did get an email from him.
Right.
He said they would accept the permits until February 28th. He's actually giving,
Another month,
yeah, well, another 2 months.
2 months.
And then the bag tickets, the prepaid trash bag
Coupons.
tickets till the end of this month.
Yeah, the problem is for people who bought like 6 months worth of tickets.
Right.
Those are the people who are upset because I would think they would want to be reimbursed
Again,
since they can't use them.
I would think it's up to the town board. There's a relatively simple solution. Either refund the people who paid for extra tickets and then have them purchase new tickets from Welch.
That would seem the simplest because, I mean, these people
How many tickets do we have now?
already bought them.
One person had $300 worth.
Yeah, there's some people that bought them quite a long time ahead and they're out a lot of money, so they should be reimbursed
Well, they were always
if
going
they
to.
can't use them.
The other option would be to, starting to prorate them and starting December 1st, whatever portion of those fees you allocate from December 1st of this year on, you pay that to Welch, or at least pay what, I don't know what the town's, what these people paid for the tickets, if there's a difference between what Welch.
But wouldn't
No,
it
there's
be
not a
cleaner
difference.
just to
$4.
reimburse
It's
them?
the same.
Again,
Do we have records of who bought the tickets?
Yes,
Yeah,
do.
we have
You
all
do?
the records.
You sure?
Yes.
I stopped selling tickets probably 3 or 4 months ago when you told me to
Yeah.
stop. But Jim has continued, and he has a list. I do believe he has a list of everyone that's bought coupons right up to the last minute.
It'd probably be
You should
easier.
have that.
It'd probably be easier for residents if we just paid Welsh. Let them just
Right, that's right.
start using Welsh and we'll pay them whatever people hand in. Otherwise, people are going to be waiting for checks in their mailboxes and we have to track down everyone that actually,
So that if Welch collected the tickets and then we just reimburse them
yeah.
Correct.
for, that way.
At the end of the month.
It's just
yeah,
easier.
That way they're used, they have value,
That's
and
the
they're
easiest.
turned in, and we would pay Welch. To me, that would,
That's the easiest way to me.
because they have their
Yes.
tickets.
So I'll talk to Jim Constantino.
That was a
They've been-
conversation we had with Constantino before, I think, that we would,
He sent an email, there was some email correspondence about this. They've been very accommodating in the past, I assume they'll be the same with this.
So then we need to reach out to all these people and let them know what the decision is.
Yeah, I'll try to contact Jim tomorrow. He can be tricky to get
Can you
hold
get
of
that list from
sometimes.
Jim?
And then I'll email everyone.
Well, I don't
and
think we
then
need a list.
your
Anyone
meeting-
that goes to the transfer station and hands over a coupon, a green coupon, they'll know it's ours.
It's numbered, it's
Right,
it's
so
valid.
if they just collect those coupons and say to them, if you want to do it every month or it's 6 months, if it's, just hold on to the coupon, give us the coupons, and we'll give you $4 for every coupon you give us. I think that'd be the best way. That's my opinion.
But they're gonna bring them to Welsh.
Exactly.
Okay.
Welsh can collect them.
Well, we need that list so we can send a letter to the people. Do we have a list of?
I don't think, I've been telling people just to continue to go there and give them your coupon, because as of yesterday, that's what we were still doing. They were still taking them.
Sure.
So if they just continue to go there, give the coupon like they always did, Welsh takes the coupon, collects it, gives it to us, we pay them the $4 for every coupon. Is that the deal?
Correct, but I still would like that list.
No problem.
Okay.
So I'll check with Welsh and I'll let everybody know as soon as I get a response.
Are there many people that came in for to purchase permits though?
Not as
Right.
many as the coupons, because the permits were for 6 months at a time.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is a water district building. I realize I don't have a copy of, does anybody have a copy of,
NWS,
yeah.
NDRI. There's the other bid if you want that.
Yeah, all right, I have. You want, is anybody?
It's pretty much the same,
No.
which is good.
Oh, no.
No, that we don't have. Do we have copies of that?
I think we should move the copy machine down here. Could we take a
Well-
vote? How many need this, everybody?
While we're waiting, can I go over the CAC, just to
What about the other one? Do you need that too?
Yes.
No. You,
BRI?
be all right, you have?
No.
Oh, there's two.
Yeah, I have them.
Could I
Sure.
mention the CAC? So the CAC met on November 28th, 2012. On our agenda was the Kent Hollow mining permit application to DEC, Ridgecrest, also mining application permit, and Roxbury Sand and Gravel, and that's kind of an ongoing issue about what kind of materials are being brought in and stored at that site, and the old Amenia landfill. And Kent Hollow, we had, as a board, as the CAC, we empowered Dave Reagan, the chair, to write a letter on our behalf, and he had also collected a couple of other letters from 3 members of the CAC to submit to DEC. That application has been withdrawn, so, but we did put in our letters with our comments. And Ridgecrest, Dave Reagan also sent some of the comments of the CACs and his own in to respond to that application. And we went over all the different issues that were put in the in his application for special use permit. If I'm saying this wrong, let me know.
I wasn't at that meeting, so I'm
Oh, okay,
not
so
sure.
it's just me. Okay, so we went over all the different issues, like backup alarms, that, you know, when they back up their trucks, we were hoping that they would be able to retrofit, you know, for a, you know, per truck, if you put on a different thing, device on the back of your truck, it wouldn't be such a shrill noise. You know, there are all these different responses that we're trying to provide to alleviate some of the impact that trucks going through the towns would, it would mitigate some of these issues, and one of them being the noise. So there's an option for trucks to be retrofitted with a different kind of alarm that did a different kind of a broadband width of noise. They talked about fast-growing trees. You know, they've already planted some around Ridgecrest. That's the mine that's on South Amenia Road and Kent Road, all the way to Sin Patch Road. It's now a huge parcel that's part of that mining operation, having added the section on Sin Patch Road to the overlay zone. Now they need a special use permit to begin operating. So we put in all of our input, traffic study. It looked to be up to date. Hours of operation, we talked about limiting it not just during the week from 7 to 4. He'd like it to operate on Saturdays 8 to 12, but was willing to compromise. These are all issues that we are trying to provide feedback on behalf of the residents, and seeing what kind of accommodations we can make to make it less impact on the community character. Barriers, entrances into the mine. We didn't want to just restrict vehicular. We also wanted to try and figure out how to restrict ATV, which often becomes an issue in our communities. Dust control, he has a water truck. You know, we looked at all the different issues in the application. The pre-project road analysis looked to be onerous and like a lot of things that didn't really apply to his case, but we wrote that. If Dave hasn't submitted a letter, it should be in there. He took photo, and then on Roxbury, sand and gravel, there's just these mounds of what looks to be composting material. But Dave Reagan took photos and sent them to the zoning officers because some of the residents and the CAC has been concerned that since it's over the aquifer, we don't know what's in those piles. So the zoning officer was going to be inspecting that. We thought that it was a good idea to get everyone together, the DEC, Roxbury Sand and Gravel, the town, and see if we can work out who is going to verify what is in the piles and what kind of operations should be allowed there. Is it in violation of our zoning or not? So we need to get that cleared up. And then, and then our last one was the Old Amenia landfill. They're cutting roads into that now, and we can't get on the site now, but the CAC could help with some conservation education projects, and we rediscussed the possibility of finding grants to put up signs that say this was a landfill, there were PCBs here, now it's a nature and recreational park, but it's could be one of two sites, one being Nori, the place where they have the Clearwater Festival, Croton Point Park, is a reclaimed landfill that's used for all kinds of community celebrations and has, you know, a really great adaptive reuse. We're hoping to be the second one in Dutchess County to have a successful adaptive reuse for the park and to reclaim it in a way that would make it possible to have a nice walking trail all the way around. That was our meeting, conclusion of our meeting.
Okay.
I just wanted to, under committee, we received a letter about a month ago from the assessor's office about approving the reappointment of Vern Fish to the grievance board for the town of Amenia. His term ended September 30th, 2012. I think after this was announced at a meeting, there haven't been anybody
No, I have it on my
that's
list. We've
come
got
forward. So, since he's experienced, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Vern Fish to the grievance board for the town of Amenia for a 5-year term.
I'll second that motion.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Flood?
Yes. Did you get a copy of these at all? These two water things?
I
No.
just gave it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
So that everybody's up to speed. We are losing our bookkeeper who has done the, collected the water bills, sent them out, and so on and so forth. She's going to be here till the end of the month. So we've asked for a couple of bids. We got two, one from Northwest, it's a water and wastewater specialist, 17 Vicks Way, Amenia, and another one from BRI, Environmental Services, for the proposal for water billing collection data maintenance for the town of Amenia. We're just getting both of these. You're just getting both of these tonight, right? So
I think it was emailed to all the town board.
yeah, all the town board
You
got
guys
it.
should have gotten it.
Yeah.
But there's no prices on it,
On the back.
or on that.
There are two quotes from BRI. We currently pay $6,363.16.
Does that include the postage, the Jane's salary?
Includes the salary, the FICA, postage, BAS yearly, envelopes, and then tie sales is $1,085 a year, which we pay to upgrade the service. And Ian, you talked to the state controller's office about this?
I didn't, I just did some research.
Okay. I spoke to,
About what?
about the water, collecting the water bills.
You spoke to controller's office?
No, I spoke to VRI today. They said they do 6 other towns, but
Okay.
they don't collect the money. The money comes here, and they just, or I guess they collect the bills, but the bills are made out to the town of Amenia. The checks are made out to the town of Amenia, not to any independent.
So they
collection.
do, so they do the billing, but they don't collect the payment.
They do collect the payment, but the checks and bills the checks are made out to the town of Amenia. They just deposit it.
Okay.
okay?
They deposit it into
Our
the town's account?
The town's account.
Okay.
They're only allowed access to deposits, they don't have any
Correct.
ability to withdraw.
No, neither one of them do.
Uh-huh.
That can't be. So it's just a deposit.
Are they bonded or anything like that?
Actually, they said no. They didn't have to be bonded.
Okay.
I looked into it, you know, I couldn't find any specific authority that gives the town board the power to delegate this to a private company.
Who would do the bank reconciliation?
Sherry.
So, I mean, you do have some issues here. They're going to be, even though the checks are made payable to the town, they're handling the
The
funds.
town's
That's a question I've had from day one.
Yeah.
They're handling taxpayers' money. So my concern has always been, how do we track
You
them?
want to make sure the town is protected.
Right.
I mean, one thing I could do would be to try to check with the controller's office to see. You mentioned that there are other towns
Yep.
that do this. I just couldn't find any authority that says that you can do it. I don't know when you need to do this by,
We have time.
Okay.
Well, Jane's leaving the end of this year? The end of this
month.
Yeah, so we need to.
But she said she would stay on if we needed to, if we couldn't make a decision. I spoke to her today. That could be,
Okay.
you know, maybe we have to come up with some other issue, other
Arrangement.
arrangement.
What do other towns do? Do they allow them to just
Millbrook,
deposit their money?
Village of Millbrook,
That VRI
yeah,
performs these services for?
I think the town of Clinton.
Okay.
There's a couple other ones that they did. Hyde Park? No, that wasn't Hyde Park.
But did they require them to have a bond? I know they say they don't need a bond, but we may
Well, that's
want
a
them to
question,
have a
right.
bond. I mean,
That's
I think we're the one that decides whether somebody has a bond, not them, if they're gonna be handling our money.
Well, anyone, I would assume, that's been my question from day one. They don't, the laws are very vague. Now, I would suggest that we know that we do have a bond with them, or if we decide to do this. You know, we have to be protected if
Correct.
we're gonna do this.
One thing I could do would be to check with the controller's office and see if they'll give me,
My concern always been is somebody coming in off the street saying we're gonna start collecting the money for the town. We have to be protected somehow.
that's right.
Okay, so we'll put this on hold. Is it all right?
This one too?
I don't think I have
Why
that.
don't you take that one?
Okay.
Are there, I would just say if there are any questions, we do have Vicky from NWS who could answer any questions that we might have as to their proposal for doing the service. Have you done this for any other town? So this is.
Could you go to the microphone, please? Thank you.
We haven't done it for any other towns, but Marco has been working extensively with Jane every time she's done billing. So, you know, he goes out, he does the meters, and then he comes back in, and he does sit down with her while she's doing the actual billing statements.
So is there any reason why, is this just so owners that we just couldn't do the depositing here, where the billing could be done off-site by another company, but the actual deposit, the checks come to the town of Amenia and it's
No, they don't
processed
come
here?
here.
But they don't now?
They do now.
Why couldn't we continue with that, which would make the taxpayers feel, I would think, a little more assured that they're mailing their check, made out to the town of Amenia, deposited here at the town of Amenia? I mean, wouldn't that make,
And we already own the software.
I would feel funny mailing my check to a third party made out to the town of, I don't know, I guess.
Well, that's what we're just talking about, that maybe it's not gonna work. Maybe we just
Yeah.
have to hire another bookkeeper to continue with the system that we're working with. I do not feel comfortable having the taxpayers' money handled by a third party without protection. That's been my question since day one. That when we got the bids in. And also, like, in Marco's bid, or it says that they're gonna maintain the NWS shall maintain current insurance as per our water treatment facilities contract with the town of Amenia listed additionally insured. That has nothing to do with collecting the money, NWS, so that has absolutely nothing to do with it, so that's gotta come out. His contract does not include water meter reading or anything else. So, the board has had the contract, you've got the contract, copy of his contract, right? You've had that for a while.
Yes. But if we accepted his proposal, I mean, he's already doing it.
Correct.
Yeah, he's already
He's been
reading the
doing
meters,
it.
so.
Yep.
I think we would just be replacing Jane with work that he's already been doing here at Town Hall.
And he's familiar with the software because he worked on the installation of it.
But it doesn't work.
Sure it does.
No, it doesn't.
Well, he needs an upgrade, so that's built into the cost of this. So the upgrade, he thinks, is going to make the
We'll see.
software compatible. I think we have nothing to lose in that it's cheaper than what we're doing now. And if they have put in this
still need a
application
bookkeeper.
for 1,100, there she
Right.
is.
I think you still need a bond.
Well, if we didn't need it for Jane, if we did it for Jane, I don't see why we can't also do
But
it
Jane's
for
bonded
their-
through the town.
Jane was bonded through the town.
Through the town.
Well, I don't see why we couldn't bond another person through the
Yeah, you
town.
could
That's not an
add-
employee, it's a contract.
Well,
can't
I
bond
think
it.
that what
Well,
we
we
were
could
saying.
certainly look into bonding also.
Yeah, that's would be something,
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable moving forward with it at this point.
Yeah.
I would hold off.
Yeah.
But I think she's
Till we
here
find-
tonight, so we should in fact find out what it is that
Right,
they're
and if there's
proposing.
questions, and Marco is definitely going to be here next week.
Right.
He had the class that he had to take tonight, so, if there's questions I can answer, I will if I can.
Okay.
So you
I'll
wouldn't
defer.
have a problem getting bonding?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
No. There would be no reason for it to be a problem.
Okay.
Okay?
That sounds good.
Here's this RPZ thing from the water company that Marco.
Actually, hold on. So just, in our review, just so everyone's aware, under compensation, Marco's contract, $2,800 annually. So really, with the paying for the annual renewal of the software, it's still cheaper than the other bid we received, but so it's really, we're talking about $35.50 a year. That's really
Right,
what.
it's $1,085 that we still have to pay,
Okay.
so. Investment policy resolution to adopt. We had adopted a investment policy last year, but we deleted the Salisbury Bank. We have to add the Salisbury Bank to them because they have the software that can collect the new taxpayers' money from the town, and also some other stuff that we're doing with the banks. Our local bank cannot accept it. Their IT system will not work with our system. So.
Is this also for direct deposit?
Yep.
Okay.
So we're changing banks,
No, we're just adding one bank, we're changing some accounts to one bank, to Salisbury Bank.
but we're not changing all the accounts?
No. So this resolution number 72 of 2012, adoption investment policy of Salisbury Bank and Trust to be added. Whereas the town of Amenia is required by New York State law to have an investment policy regarding such funds as it collects and administers throughout the year. And whereas the New York State Comptroller's Office has provided towns with approved investment policy as a guideline to adopt, and whereas the town of Amenia wishes to comply with the law and offices of the State Comptroller's guidelines, be it therefore enacted the town of Amenia adopts the attached investment policy to take effect immediately. And he's, and approve,
And second by?
I'll second it.
I'll make the motion to,
Supervisor Flood?
yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti?
No.
Okay.
No.
And Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Cool. We've been working with Dutchess County, which I emailed you to last week. The Workers' Compensation and Safety Management Program. We've been accepted by Dutchess County. Dutchess County, under County Executive Molinaro, has allowed towns to enter into the insurance programs with Dutchess County. The first one at this point is our workers' compensation policy. Currently, our quote for the 2013 to 2014 workers' compensation policy from PERMA is $33,921. Under this new program, it is $9,500. So it's roughly a savings of $25,000 through using the county system. So actually, it's a no-brainer. So at this point, what we're going to do, we have to do this resolution to accept the.
So it's self-insured?
You're self-insured. Most towns are doing it at this point, so it saves us a fortune. So resolution number
73.
of 2012, you have received this, you have this, correct? You received this a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Election by the town to be participant in the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan at a meeting of the town board of the town of Amenia held in the Amenia Town Hall on the 13th day of December 2012 at 7 p.m. Town Supervisor William Flood called the meeting to order, and
Second.
Darlene, and seconded by Councilwoman Darlene Reamer, introduced the following resolution to wit, whereas by resolution number 552 of 1980, the Dutchess County Legislature adopted County Local Law number 5 of 1980, which established the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan and provided for the rules and regulations for the administration thereof pursuant to Article 5 of the New York Workers' Compensation Law, and whereas Section 62 of the Workers' Compensation Law provided the authority for any public corporation to elect to become a participant in the Workers' Compensation Plan established by the county by resolution of the governing body of the public corporation, and whereas the town board has determined that it would be the best interest of the town of Amenia for the town to become a participant in the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan, and whereas the town board has determined that electing to become a participant in the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan is a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and therefore does not require an environmental review. And now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby elects to become a participant in the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan, and such participation becoming effective January 1, 2013. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the payment of the town's share of the annual fees and expenses of being a participant in the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan as determined by Article 5 of the Workers' Compensation Law and relevant rules, regulations, and local laws of Dutchess County. Be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to file a certified copy of this resolution with Dutchess County Commissioner of Finance and the clerk of the Dutchess County Legislature.
No problem.
Okay?
Supervisor Flood,
Yes.
Councilman Haas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Reamer.
Yes.
Another one on my list is the this year's, in 2013's budget, we had authorized the hiring of a rec director. I would like to have permission to start soliciting people for that position to start after January 1.
So we'll advertise
Right.
and require a letter of interest and a resume?
Correct. I have one already, I got one that was here. So we do have a
Candidate.
we have one already, so that's good. And actually, I got a call from Kathleen Howard that she would like to do the summer rec program, but not as a director. I spoke to her the other day. She would like to be involved in it, so which is a good thing.
That's with the upgraded criteria?
Correct. There is criteria from the county
Yeah, so-
and from the state that has to be
Okay.
met.
So this is updated from that last version we saw a while back that
Yeah.
is 30 years old, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And the second, CJ?
I'll second it.
Okay, Councilwoman Reamer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti,
Yes.
Councilman Haas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
and Supervisor Flood.
Yep. Supervisors report. Obviously, the,
Do you have a letter of agreement for Dutchess Community College? Are you going to do that or not?
yeah, is that here? I do have it.
It was in my pile, so.
We are also working with Dutchess Community College, Northeast Community Center. They have asked that we help support them, and then we offered a room, the rec room upstairs. What we will be doing is they are going to offer English as a second language. They'll be teaching upstairs 6 hours a week. There's 15 to 16-hour weeks per semester from January 7th to August 15th. Maximum class size will be 30 students, minimum is 10 students, and they have to pay a fee. Dutchess County Community College will provide the agreed-upon ESL curriculum. Dutchess Community College will provide instruction materials. Dutchess Community College will employ the teachers for 6 hours of instruction a week. Dutchess Community College will provide a class with 10 or more students. Classes will be canceled if fewer than 10 students register. Dutchess Community College will have a $1 million liability floater, naming the town of Amenia as the beneficiary. What we need to do is provide a classroom appropriate teaching environment, provide a safe environment, classroom and building for students' facility. Students will pay a tuition fee of $20. Semester tuition assistance available through Berkshire Taconic Foundation grant. I need authorization to move forward with this.
Why is, so the tuition fee, who does that go to, DCC?
Yeah, it's not ours.
Yeah, it's not
So
ours.
why is it under facility responsibilities?
So we're just offering the room
We're just offering
at
the
no
room
cost.
at no cost.
It's a service to the community, I would.
No, I understand that. I just didn't understand why that fee was under facility responsibilities.
Oh.
Need a motion to accept it?
Motion, Vicky Doyle. Second, CJ Haas.
I'll second that motion.
Are we good with that or no?
I would assume if we go forward, I mean, that it's defined more clearly. I mean, 6 hours a week, how many hours would that be a day, and how many days of the week? You know, eventually, I think, you know, we should move forward with it, but
I
think
can get
we
better
need-
clarification. If
Yeah,
it's
we
2
need
days
more
a week,
details.
If it's 2 nights a week or one, I don't know if they do it one night. 6 hours one night's too long, I would think. So
Yeah,
It's probably gonna be 2 nights.
I was thinking it would be more like 2 hours. I don't know. It would be nice to know what their schedule
Okay,
is.
I can,
But-
Times, access to the building,
Yes.
working out all of
More
that.
details.
Sure.
Who's going to be in charge to let them in, lock up, all that stuff.
So I think the motion should be based on we work out those details
Yeah.
and just have a clear understanding of when they need the building
Refining the
and the room.
What you could do is propose to enter into a license agreement, and where you could spell out the terms a little with more detail. Probably the way you should do it would be by a license agreement,
all right.
because they're using the town property. When did they want to start providing this service?
January 7th.
Sorry.
January 7th, yeah.
So there's not much time to work out the details, but I
No.
think moving forward is important.
Is
Yeah.
there heat in those, in the room? Okay.
Do you have a contact person?
Yeah, I have it upstairs. Bonato's her name.
Because I could prepare license agreement pretty quickly.
Sure.
It's just a matter of having them approve it and agree to those terms.
So we have an existing business use agreement. Would that, would the license cover all the issues that we had in the business use agreement that typically is taken out by parties who want to use the facility? In other words, we have one.
That you generally use to anybody that wants to use space in the
I
town
believe
hall?
so. They have to fill it out and agree to clean it up after themselves, blah, 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 right? I mean, it's spelled out what we
Yeah, I mean,
provide.
that's, I'd have to take a look at it. The concerns that you would have, you want to make sure there's they're providing either insurance or they're agreeing to indemnify the town in the event that somebody gets injured.
Well, that's that floater agreement that's in it.
Yeah. Again, I'm not saying that this isn't sufficient. I think it'd be better if you had something more formal. And this is going to be for a longer period of time than just a
Yeah.
one-time
Yep.
use.
Correct.
So,
All right, so you want to expand your,
My motion.
your motion?
I would make a motion that we authorize the attorney to write up a license agreement that would formalize our relationship with Dutchess Community College and the English as a second language courses to be offered here from January until August.
You just took a second, though.
No, I'll second that motion.
Councilwoman Reamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Parodi?
Ian, you want to comment?
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Flood?
You have it?
yeah.
Okay. And then I'll give you the contact information.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Can Mike Kelsey speak?
Sure.
now?
We'll get you out of here, Mike.
I'm not stand for tonight, so I can wait. Whatever you
Okay.
want to do.
Ruben is here and he has to teach class tomorrow.
Well, yeah, but they're on the list. We have a
Oh,
list. The supervisor's report, obviously, the first thing that we have to congratulate everybody that pulled off this Christmas party this weekend. It was an incredible event. Our congratulations to everyone that worked. It was, especially the fire department, all the businesses that donated food. Marilyn Noe, who worked hours and hours serving food. All the volunteers that helped, all the local businesses that gave food, the local businesses that donated prizes, door prizes. The fire department, the parade was incredible. It was beautiful. It was just worked out. It was far more than what we anticipated.
We had about, what, 300 minimum, 300 people.
I think it was
would
closer to
think like
500.
500, because there were 300 in the gym alone,
300 in the gym.
and
I know, I'm sure.
150 waiting for
There's
Santa.
150 went through Santa that had photos.
Yeah.
So it was a great success. Everybody is to be congratulated, that all the town, the whole town. It's great to see 500 people here.
I don't know how we managed with the parking, but I didn't hear any problems. So I think people were actually walking in
Yep.
throngs from downtown, which is what we wanted, a walkable community. It was warmish, and people stayed with their parking, their cars uptown, walked back and forth. It was very, very nice.
Someday we'll have ice skating, if it ever gets cold,
And sledding.
and sledding, maybe, maybe. Do you want to go to town board comments?
Well, I think also on the Holiday of Lights, just mention the Citizen of the Year, not
Oh,
everyone
right.
would know. For Amenia, that would be Lana Angwin Cohen, and for Wassaic, it was Doris Smith. Both to be congratulated, and they received plaques that day.
I have a couple other things.
Ceremony.
I've received a call from, actually several calls from the Millbrook High School, and I've tried to reach out to a couple of the rec directors, rec commission. Their fields are under construction, they're being redone, and they're looking to use a field here.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's
Who is it?
Millbrook School, High School. I told them, you know, we have Wassaic that's available. So I don't know what the schedule is. Somehow the rec commission's got to get together with me and let me know if one is available. Just one other thing I have is, today we had the Poughkeepsie Dutchess County Transportation Council, which I'm on the council, and today one of the resolutions that we approved was Dutchess County's Northeast Transit, the Northeast Community Center, and the Dutchess County Loop System. They received a $225,000, $273 of grants from the county to keep the loop system going out here. So we have, that's been approved, and that was done today. So that, at least for this year, that keeps going. Hopefully the county will come up with some more money next year.
The grant is a federal grant,
Yep.
with 2 more years on it. So
Yep.
I don't know what they do after that.
Well, they said there is another way of funding it through another grant, so that's being done. Obviously, they're working on it now, so that's a good thing. What we do need to get the ridership up. If we're going to keep getting money, people need to start using this bus, this loop bus. It's obviously going to go into Connecticut now, so it will be able to go to the hospital. So you can call in advance and they'll pick you up. They've extended it also if someone is wheelchair bound. There was a limit as to where they could go, but now they'll go to your house and pick you up. So if you need transportation, you're disabled, they will go and get you. So that's a good thing, and then they will be able to cross the state line. So that's been done, that's been worked out.
Excellent.
And they will also take you, I think, 2 days a month, they will take you to Poughkeepsie. They are going to have, they're working out the schedules now. If people want to go to the big box stores, they'll take you, drop you off. You'll be able to do your shopping and then come back. They'll pick you up in a couple hours or whatever it's going to be. So that's a good thing that people want. At least get people out there. Town board comments?
I just say a little more about Doris Smith being Wassaic's Citizen of the Year. She served for many years as the elder on session of the United Presbyterian Church, and she's worked very hard for the operation and restoration of the historic Gridley Chapel in Wassaic. And as I drove by tonight, the lights were, the little historic candles were in there. I mean, clearly they have taken such good care and have been working very hard to get the Gridley Chapel in good shape. It still has work to go. So hopefully with this Citizen of the Year award, we'll have even more enthusiasm to find the funds to, the slate roof needs some repair, the cap portions are not in place anymore, so the water will start getting underneath those slate, I'm guessing. So we're getting quotes, and we do still have money for that has been raised for it, thanks to Doris and other members of the committee. But we want to raise that awareness. The work isn't done yet. And Lana, of course, everybody has been helped at one time or another from here in the town hall by Lana. She was competent, she was always friendly, always very, very meticulous in all the work she did. And I think we all as a town really appreciate having her for 25 years. So she has retired, and we'll miss her terribly at town hall. So I wanted to just say a few more words about these Citizens of the Year who really embody the spirit of public service in our community.
Well, I don't have anything.
I just wanted to make a few announcements. Christmas party will be held at the Wassaic Firehouse on Sunday, December 16th from 1 to 3 p.m. Besides visiting with Santa, there will be raffle prizes and refreshments. The firehouse is located at 27 Firehouse Road. And an all-you-can-eat breakfast will be sponsored by the Amenia Fire Company on Sunday, December 16th from 7:30 to 11 a.m. at the Firehouse on Mechanic Street. Prices are adults $7, children and seniors $6. The menu consists of many choices. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, will we have a resolution for the employee handbook at the next meeting? Because we did want to pass that before the end of the year.
I have emailed Jeff Travers the updates. I did call him, but he was out, and I did not receive a call back today, so I will touch base with him tomorrow, and hopefully we can get it done. I'm trying to get it done by the end of the year. We have anybody else? CJ?
I would just like to also mention the Main Street Grant Program. Is one of us willing to try and get Mike Haggerty to come and work with us?
We'll be setting up a meeting for
before the end of the
next
year.
week.
Okay. Sure.
You said John Fenton had classes and Mike was away, so it didn't work out. And then the Holiday of Lights thing was happening, so things have been crazy.
We have 2 resignations that Judy Velletri, 10 Depot Hill Road. Dear Supervisor Flood and members of the Town Board, please accept my resignation as Chairperson of the Zoning Board of Appeals at the end of my term, December 31st, 2012. I am grateful for having the opportunity for the last 7 years to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals, both as member and as a chairperson. If I can be assistance until this new appointment is made, please contact me, Judy A. Velletri. The second one is from Herb Ishbak. Dear Supervisor Flood, the town of Amenia, including its officers and residents, have put considerable thought, planning, and energy and resources in making the hamlet of Amenia more appealing business, environmental, and visitor designation. Over the past 18 years or so, it has been my privilege to help to maintain Fountain Square Veterans Park and present it in a manner that honors veterans of Amenia who have served our country and defended our democracy. Some years my efforts have been more or less successful than others. It is also my goal to maintain Fountain Square in a manner that would reflect positively on our hamlet. It is now time to allow someone else the rewarding experience and privilege of caring for Fountain Square. Since I was never officially hired by the town, a resignation may not be appropriate, but may be just a relinquishing of my efforts. Well, maybe we don't have to accept it either. So while change and upkeep are necessary at Veterans Park, respect for what it stands for should be the ultimate importance of its future care. I would be glad to share my experience with whoever accepts the role as caretaker. With thanks for all your support. Both will be greatly missed. Both have done a great job, and we have to start advertising as soon as possible to fill both these positions. We do have a volunteer applicant for the Emergency Response Committee from Mary Millette. I guess there is an opening.
Lana.
Right, that's right, Lana, to fill Lana's position.
Lana wasn't on it. Dawn will be leaving.
That's right, okay. So do you want to
I'll
ask
make
for
a
more
motion that we,
volunteers, or you
I
want to
think we
accept?
should go ahead and accept her as soon as
Okay.
possible because,
I need a second.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor to accept Mary Millet as on the Emergency
Yes.
Response Committee?
Aye.
Yes, yes.
yes.
I also sent you some information on one of the issues that the state of New York is in their audits. If we're tracking the audits, we're probably a nanosecond from having one. They're doing the town of Northeast, and they did the village, now they're doing the town of Dover, and they're just driving by. Is the IT support and IT security systems that we have. I just sent you this information to look at what we did. There is a person from Dover that does ROS, that is done for the town of Dover. We may use her to, I'll get an idea what it's going to cost to have her write our programs up. But I did speak to Mario from BAS, that they have sent us some generic stuff, which I'll send to Ian to take a look at. Maybe that's what we can adopt and be okay with it.
Okay.
Because we need to have something on file for our security, as far as computers and security for the building and stuff like that, that has to be done.
Especially the server.
Right, the server has to be locked up.
Good.
Right. Also, there's a quote here, I believe. We can do that next month. There was a quote, but I don't think it's here, so I'll just bring it up that our backup is done locally. We have a tape. What we're also looking to do is back up to the cloud. I think it was $115 a month, but I'll give you that quote as we move further along to take a look at it. Next is Tony Zanino, the Wasatch Project. Yep.
Spells his Z-U-N-I-N-O.
Tony Zanino from Super Laureate, which was the sponsor of the Wasatch Project. And we received an order to demolish the sign that I guess has been there ever since I've been aware of it. That used to be for Luther Barnes, and this year we used it for the Wasatch Project. And I guess what I would like to do is request a stay from that order to demolish it while we pursue an application to legalize it. I guess there are new rules, which I'm not aware of, but we'd like to legalize the existing sign if we could. And if it does not fit within the current rules, we'd like to seek a variance to maintain it. It's on our property, and it's, I don't know. I personally think it's a great thing for Wasatch because it's got good visibility, and it sort of is right at the entrance to it. So I need your guidance as to how to pursue this.
Unfortunately, you have some people that don't like it.
Do not like the stanchions, or do not
No,
like
I think the
this-
size of the sign. That's,
Size.
there's been a few complaints that John has received. So I don't know how else we can do it. I agree with
What's the
Tony.
current size of the sign?
I don't know. It's large. I mean,
It's a plywood
the sign
sort of
itself is not all that
stanchion,
large
so
because
it's big. It's
couldn't
billboard
afford it, but
size.
the posts are very tall, and so it could be a big sign. But I think its location is important, and I think its distance above the ground is important, because it's right on Route 22, so you can see it from a distance.
Last year, what we did is they put up a temporary sign for the Wasake project.
Exactly.
Jeff came in and he got a permit for a temporary sign for the banner that was up for the concert, right?
Exactly.
So that's what we did last year. They paid the permit fee, and they had their concert, and then they took it down a week or later or whatever it was, whatever they did it that way. So that's how we worked it out last year with them.
I think you've got to speak into the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. What we did last year was Jeff came in for a permit for a temporary sign to a banner for the Wasake project, and that's what they did. They paid the fee, and the banner was put up, and then it was taken down after the event.
Surely if we could hold off on this and allow, I don't know what the legal options are for stopping
Well, I think
this
Tony just
process.
wants to know the process.
Yeah.
Who does he have to go to next?
Is the lack of compliance, is it cited as a zoning issue?
Doesn't comply with our sign ordinance.
Yes, I
That's
think
the
it probably
problem.
doesn't.
I don't know if the ZBA handles appeals, though. I mean, I think the next step would be you would appeal it, which I believe it'd go to the ZBA, but I think you probably just need to speak with John Fenton about the appropriate procedure.
Talk to John, and then John should make a determination whether or not the sign is compliant. It's either compliant or it's not. And if it's not, then you can appeal to the zoning board of appeals.
Okay.
And seek an area variance from the ZBA.
Okay.
That sign's been there at least probably 50, 60 years.
Well, you have.
Right, we have it. Right.
You
But we
phased
do have
out
an ordinance.
non-conforming
Yes.
signs, so as of, I think it was July 1st.
Yes, that's a ZBA.
This year, all signs need to comply. But I would speak to John Fenton. He should be able to tell you whether or not the sign complies with the zoning law or it doesn't.
Well, I'm guessing if you got an order
then
to
the
demolish, it
process-
doesn't
Doesn't
comply.
Oh, he
need
did?
the order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's why he got an order to demolish, because it's not in
Okay.
Yeah,
compliance.
he just needs to know
It's
the
the same
process,
order
what would
that
be the
a lot
next
of
step
sign
for him
owners
to
probably
take.
got.
So it would apply to the zoning board of appeals.
It would be an application to the zoning board of appeals,
It's for relief from
That'd be-
dimensional
or some kind
standards
of
for
a
the sign.
variant, yeah, for whatever is.
That'd be a variance?
Well, I'm sorry, what, you got an order to,
Demolish it.
for what reason? Because of the size was not compliant?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Then it would be an application to the zoning board of appeals for an area variance.
It's likely either size or height or both.
Right.
Or design, there may be the lettering, the size of, a lot of things the zoning board would be looking at.
Well, there's
The
nothing on
ZBA.
it right now.
No, but he
Yeah.
wants to put something on it.
Right.
so
Right.
They would want to, I'm sure they'd want to see what you expect to put on it so that they can assess whether or not they can give you the variance.
Got it. And a variance, my understanding, you need to have a hardship. Would the hardship be that the sign has been there for
That's for a use variance. This is an area variance.
area?
So the standard is different. Fortunately for you, it's a somewhat easier
Not
standard.
self-imposed, which is one
Yeah,
of the
there's
criteria.
criteria. If you look in the zoning code,
Okay.
there are
It's
4 or
typically
5
like-
factors that
yeah.
the ZBA has to consider, and they weigh the benefit to the applicant in granting the variance against the detriment to the community and or to the town. So they can. There may be some information in the application itself.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
And Tony, if you have a copy of the zoning ordinance, there's a variance section, so it should lay out what the criteria would be specifically.
Tony, will you have a second?
Sure.
The 16 acres, is that been dealt with the Wasake project, or is that still open?
It's a moving target. The latest is that I think the Mosaic project will be given it, and that it may be sold, the money going to the Mosaic project.
Okay,
I think that's the latest as of this afternoon.
okay. I did send, there was a email that was sent that there's 16 acres in Wassaic that was it Mr. Benjamin?
Nichols.
Ben
Nichols owns, that he's looking for to give
Donate.
away to a non-for-profit organization that was offered to the town. But the Wassaic project, hopefully they can take it
I think they can take it.
and do what they want with it, but hopefully it'll work out for them.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. It was great to see the vice president here, by the way. I understand he went to your house.
He did, and they invited us down there last night at this time. We were at this house.
Oh, really? Good for you.
He's a great, he's very nice.
Tell him to stop the next time. Ruben, you're next.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't quite know how to start.
Ruben, start with your name.
That's a good place to start. I actually have that in my, I have to read. My name is Ruben Madikians, and I'm the director of Amenia Yoga Center here in Amenia. The reason I wanted to come here this evening is to let you know of many services that we offer at the yoga studio, as well as 2 projects that I'm looking to introduce to Amenia in 2013. Before I tell you about a few of the projects, or 2 of the projects, some of the services that we offer at the studio. By the way, we've been here for 6 years, but just in the past year and 4 months, I actually legally became a business. Before I was traveling a lot. Some of the services that we offer are many different levels of and styles of yoga classes every week. We offer private and semi-private yoga classes. We also offer injury prevention and injury recovery sessions. Different styles of somatic work, which means physical body work, including deep tissue as well as structural work, postural assessments, meditation and mindfulness, recovery from addiction, and spiritual path. And these are just a few of the main services that are offered at the studio and some of the community work that I do. I'm also the yoga and meditation program director at High Wedge Recovery Center, which is in Kent, Connecticut. What we're looking to offer in 2013 are 2 programs. One of them is called the Amenia Candle Project, and the other one is called Move, Evolve, and Grow Project for the youth. The Amenia Candle Project grew out of a hobby of mine, which is candle making, into a desire to do more for the community, reach out programs from the studio and personally. It is really very simple. Handmade candles at the studio will be sold at the local stores, farmers market, and at the studio for not for profit, but to create a fund to help individuals in need. The project Move, Evolve, and Grow is a collaboration between Amenia Yoga Center and Pilates Dance Company, which is located at Washington Depot, Connecticut. Our hope is to go to the public schools with a scholarship for students to be able to attend a week-long program with Pilates to learn collaboration, problem solving, resolution seeking, strength discovery, and group decision making, all towards a common goal where there is no loser or winner. This is all accomplished through movement that can have a lasting effect on how an individual communicates with others through words and actions. Amenia Yoga Center will use some of its proceeds from the income of the studio, from classes and other works that we do, to set aside funds for a scholarship for the summer week-long workshop with Pluribus in 2013. We hope that our community reach out will encourage other local businesses to join us in helping more young adults, specifically at the Wibbetuck High School, who I have already been in contact with, and at Dover High School. Pluribus has agreed, or Pluribus has had a long history of community outreach and is excited to collaborate with Amenia Yoga Center for this project. They hope to be able to present a workshop at this community center sometime early this spring, late winter for our community.
That would be here?
I'm sorry?
That would be here?
That will be here at the gymnasium.
Alrighty.
So I know I spoke a little too fast, and it doesn't matter how you say you are not nervous, but you are nervous when you're speaking in front of people.
Oh, you're doing fine. I just wanted it to be clear so that everybody knew it would be offered here.
The workshop will be offered here. What Pluribus is looking to do to introduce their style of helping young adults as well as all people at my age, young adults, to be able to work with a group where the common goal of the group is really to support the group. So within the group, you find your strengths. Within the group, you find your weaknesses. Within the group, you find how to communicate and work with other people. And the beauty of it is that you all are working towards a common goal where everybody has an input, and there is not about a reward at the end except the well-being of the group. Which teaches especially the young adults to have self-esteem, self-understanding, better understanding of their somatic being, which is again physical being, teaches them about communication and teamwork.
Now, did you have a specific time of the year that you wanted to offer this, or a certain month?
There's two parts. The project that Amenia Yoga is excited about is, personally, from the studio, we will take a proceed of our income and set it aside to create a scholarship for a young adult to go to the week-long program at Washington Depot to do the program with Pluribus. Before that, this March or April, Pluribus has agreed to come here and do a 2 to 3 hour workshop at our basketball court where the winter farmers market is held. Okay. So I came to see if that is doable, what is it that we need to do.
What would the workshop entail?
The workshop will entail a short version of what they will experience at the week-long program in Washington Depot. The workshop will be open to all schools. Millbrook School, what is the one in Lakeville?
Indian Mountain?
Hotchkiss,
Hotchkiss.
Indian Mountain, all of the schools are available. But my goal is to take this to public schools where a place like Wibbetuck that does not have a dance program or a movement program, high school 11th graders and 12th graders can write an essay and say why they would like to take this program, and the dancers from Pluribus will read those essays, and we, myself and the studio, and hopefully a couple of other smaller businesses here in Armenia will be able to help individuals from Wibbetuck and Dover to attend that week-long program.
And there's more than one person that can go, or just one?
Depending on how much money we have.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, the scholarship.
You know, I'm a business that makes less than $50,000 a year. The workshop is $500. I am certain if I can come up with one person, Pilates will match me. I am pretty certain. They are tremendous in community outreach. So that will be 2 people. My hope is to be able to get at least 5 kids from each school. Dover does have a small dance program. I am scheduled to meet with them sometime next week. But the workshop that they will be doing here, this is another thing that's wonderful about Pilates. They're not looking to make money. They're really here to introduce what it is that they are doing. So their style of encouraging adults to get on their own feet can be introduced to them. That workshop will be open to all of the schools, even the private schools. We hope to have anywhere from 30 to 50 kids that will come. And the price is not set, maybe $10 or $15. If I can, I will also use some of the funds to, Wibitag has, again, no movement. Maybe we will be able to offer a scholarship for a 12th or 11th grader that wants to do yoga and come do yoga at the studio at no cost. Our goal is really to get the kids moving and to really understand that their physical being is more than just running after a ball or achieving a trophy. Sort of finding the trophy within themselves. And Pilates is, from my experience and from their collaboration over 40 years, is phenomenal in doing this with adults and young adults.
Would this be a one-time event?
I certainly hope not.
No, I mean initially, when you talk about an introduction?
They will come here in March to do a 2 to 3 hour workshop, but I hope they're local. They will be happy to come here and do something once every 3 months. If my studio was larger, they would already be here. But my studio can only hold about 10 people. But this would be great experience with 30 people. And they do things at the Kent School, and there's another school that I've been involved with that they also do work with.
I think it's a great idea. I think you've explained it. I mean, you've introduced it to us, but probably something a little more refined as to when you would want to do it. Say March, March and April, or how many times would that be that you'd be coming here to do this?
They will do it once in March as an introduction as to what they are doing, and it will be in collaboration of the project that will get off ground in January. And my goal is to have something written which I will bring to you in January, as well as pass it to the local businesses to see if Armenia is willing to motivate our young adults to
Sounds good.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
And we do have a dance program that we could get, they could get involved. How many kids do we have in the dance program?
27, 28.
27, 28 kids.
Great.
So
Great.
some have been in it for years, right,
Yeah.
at this point?
Oh, yeah, no, some would be very good candidates.
Great. And this will be in conjunction with the Candle Project. The Candle Project, which is called Amenia Candle, is, again, 75% of the proceeds from the candle sale will go into a fund. I may be involved with you because you know more people through the City Hall that need help, aside from having a grocery shop or adopting a family. We would like this fund to be something that will help, let's say, an 18-year-old who is working full-time and cannot go to school full-time to possibly take an additional day off to go to school and not have to work, and we will subsidize the part of the money that he's losing from not working. The candles are made here in Armenia. Few kids are interested in coming and helping, so it will be educational, but the proceeds certainly will go all towards our community here. So I wanted to introduce that to you as well.
Good. I think it's a great idea, a great thing.
Question.
Yeah?
You use the word medications.
Meditation.
Meditation.
Not medication.
Not medication.
It is kind of like medication.
I will use the word medication. 0 medications is my goal.
Right now, there's some hearings going on down in Washington, enhanced drugs or enhancing athletes. It's a big, big issue in both the adults and they were talking about schools.
I do a lot of work in drug and alcohol prevention in our
So you're
community.
not involved with that.
I'm involved in reducing the amount taken.
How can you do that? You hope that your program is okay.
We have been successful in some of the ways that we have incorporated that. Yes.
Okay, I think you just let us know when you want to do it. If right, that's we're
So
fine.
the gym will be available to be used?
Correct. You need to let us know what days, when, so we can schedule it.
Yeah, you
Okay,
need
and
to go to
heating
the
is
town
available
clerk's
in that
office.
room?
What's that?
Heating is available in that
Oh,
room?
yeah.
Yes.
There is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you need to go to the town clerk's office and fill out a form.
I will do all of that.
Okay?
But we do have your blessing.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And we'll take yoga lessons.
Yeah,
Aboard.
be there.
Okay, I'll make a deal.
Uh-oh.
On mic. I will, you guys decide, and I will, all of you as a board, come for a complimentary yoga class just for you guys.
You won't be sorry.
And ladies, I'm sorry.
Very lovely.
Thank you. Can we just get Michael up here so we can get him out of here?
Thank you.
Sorry.
Michael Kelsey, County Legislator. I'm a little under the weather, fighting a cold, so if I seem a little lethargic or nasal, that's why. We are right now in the county in between legislative meetings. Last week at midnight, we adopted the county budget, and this Monday we will be having a special meeting where we plan to vote on redistricting. 2 big items. Redistricting on Monday, the map as presented, District 25, will include the entire town of Amenia, entire town of Washington, and the village of Millbrook, and eastern Pleasant Valley, which includes where I live. So will be a little bit new Pleasant Valley, a little bit left Pleasant Valley, and then Stanford will be out of it. But that's how District 25 is looking, and it'll still be 25 districts. As far as the county budget goes, we adopted a budget of $409 million. That is $2 million less than the budget from last year. So while the budget is down and spending is down, taxes are still going up. And the reason is because costs are high. 2 taxes are going up, got to worry about. First is property taxes. We kept it under the property tax cap, but it'll rise 2.1%, and that's on the rate. But when you apply it to the value of homes due to assessments, it's probably going to see a 6% increase on your taxes when the tax bill comes. Now, the original projections was that the property tax increase would be a lot higher, and we were able to keep it down because in lieu of raising property taxes, we raised a mortgage tax. It's a mortgage recording tax. Initially, the county had it back in 2007. It allowed to lapse in 2009, and we'll be bringing that mortgage recording tax back. That'll affect anybody who is taking out a mortgage on home or business or refinancing, although there'll be an exemption for first-time home buyers. That is a 0.5 percentage point, 0.5. It requires the state legislature to act so that we will be voting on it again later on in the year. And if the target is July 1st implementation date, which will generate about $4.5 million for the county. If it's generated sooner or passed sooner than July 1st, then it will be shared with the towns. And I believe the town has received a graph showing what type of revenue would come in to the town. Now, in addition to those 2 tax increases, the most controversial aspect of the county budget was the sales tax cap for distributions to the towns. We've spoken about that before. County executive capped it at $25 million, and he also put $1 million in a separate fund that municipalities can bid on, a competitive grant for shared services, economic development, consolidation. The legislature doubled that, so that the funds available now for the municipalities is $2 million, and then all towns can bid on any project that has anything with cost consolidation, shared services, or economic development. So I certainly encourage Amenia to apply for those.
When can we apply?
I don't know when the information will be out. I would imagine, my guess would be that the county executive will probably announce the details in his State of the County address in January. But I assume it will be coming out shortly. Additionally, there is this committee that is going to be forming to review the formula for sales tax distribution going forward. And there'll also be one on the mortgage tax distribution. My concern, I've raised it, is the county executive's proposal is that mortgage tax distribution from this new recording tax would be based on assessment values in your community. And I don't think that puts all the towns on equal footings. Various towns have different historical backgrounds, have different draws, and I think a more equitable formula should be had. But those formulas will be looked at as the year goes on. The county budget, we were able to keep spending down largely through elimination of positions. Well over 100 positions were eliminated. Of those, 73 were early retirements, and they retired November 30th, and their positions were eliminated. An additional 30 in that were mental hygiene positions, because 3 clinics that the county had, Department of Mental Hygiene ran, have now been privatized. So nobody lost their job. They just went from being a county employee to being in the private sector. Most of them employed by Hudson Valley Mental Health, which is a very good, solid nonprofit. 7 people were in positions that were eliminated, so there were 7 layoffs. As far as I know, 4 of those 7 have founded jobs elsewhere. So there's really 3 people that are really in the danger zone at this point. Also in the budget, Social Services, Department of Social Services, which will have a new name going forward to be the Community and Family Services. They will be reducing their services on Wednesdays. People will still be able to come in and file applications on Wednesdays, but they will not see a counselor on Wednesdays unless it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, someone will be available to them. Otherwise, they'll have to come back on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. And that's largely due to the early retirements. That department lost 17 employees, and they also already have had a large caseload due to the economy that they've been putting in overtime on Saturdays, and this is an effort to allow them to focus on the paperwork. The sooner you do the paperwork, sooner people get the resources they need, and sooner you have federal and state money coming in. So those are the big shape of the budget this year, and then that'll go forward. Other news, we're also have 2 local laws, I mentioned them before, that have been slowly moving along. One is item pricing. That right now, Dutchess County requires all your supermarkets to put tags on every single item. And a lot of supermarkets don't do it and pay a penalty. This local law would allow the stores to opt out through a procedure where the Department of Health, Weights and Measurements would actually check, make sure there's scanners, make sure there's enough signage and what the prices are. And then, of course, like everything else in government, they would pay a fee to have the opt out. The second local law, and I think that'll be on the agenda on Monday. It may very well pass on Monday, or may go into January. The second local law, as I mentioned before, is one to make gas stations advertise both cash and credit prices on the street, not just at the pump. They suck you in, and then you realize, oh, I'm paying more. That one, we made some amendments, and it'll probably get passed in January, and probably have an implementation date of April 1st. Lastly, in our December meeting, we ratified the contract with the Civil Service Employees Association Union. They've been 3 years without a contract. County executive was able to negotiate a contract, and I believe the early retirement incentive was a part of the negotiations. Those employees agreed to forego no raise the last 3 years, which is standard in the county. Nobody's been receiving raises. However, going forward this year, they will receive 2 bonuses, one in March, one in December, and they'll each be for $500. So every employee will get $1,000 as a bonus, twice $500 each, twice a year. Also, the bereavement time was, we've given extra time, an extra day off for bereavement, and also reclassified so that brothers-in-laws and sisters-in-laws who pass on, you're allowed to take bereavement time, which seems like a fair assessment. So that was also what we voted on.
Disability tax.
The exemption?
Yeah.
Just briefly, the exemption that I was working on all year that passed unanimously in September is a exemption for persons that are low income and considered disabled, and that passed, but it will not go into effect until March 1st. So therefore, county property taxes come out February 28th, so therefore it will not apply this year, but going forward the next year it will, and at this point it'll probably affect about 200 people in the county, and then we'll see as it goes forward. So, any questions?
I have a comment or an invitation. I'm sorry I'm so slow getting this to you, but on Sunday, December 16th, here at the gym, we'll be having our Amenia free dance program.
Okay, I was
Our
wondering what it
recital.
was going to be. I can't do
Really?
the 16th though.
Oh, you can't. That's
No.
too bad. But we'll mention you. You've been so supportive all these years and helpful, and we'll miss you. But
Okay.
I will certainly mention you that he's always come and given a nice little introduction, and it's just nice to see our county exec has also come, Mark Molinaro, and we had a few people. Mike Haggerty comes. It's very nice.
It is a
Anybody
good
who can
event.
come. We really appreciate having we had our dress rehearsal at the Holiday of Lights, and we had about 200, 300 people see it. So the kids have really been working hard,
Good.
and love to see people come out.
I met with County Executive Molinaro today, and they're going to call us. I think he's going to schedule a meeting for Eastern Dutchess for his State of the County address.
Okay.
Will be held here
Oh, nice.
At Amenia.
in Amenia. So that's,
Wow.
I think, for Eastern Dutchess. So that's what he told me today that he would do it. So
It's a big deal.
it's a big deal.
It's a very
Good.
big deal.
So that's,
That's a big deal.
yeah.
Good.
You're doing a great job.
Yes.
By the way,
Thank
he's doing a great job. You all are with a tough budget.
Yep. It was a challenge.
Yep.
And, but I think we're in good shape.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, time's up.
I hope you don't elect me, but we will try to. I have a bunch of things on my agenda. I want to say that Mike Kelsey has personally done a great job because he got a sign for my husband for the blind person crossing in Wassaic, and I really appreciate that. And I do want to ask the town, because my husband is blind, if he can be considered for this tax exemption. Is it for school tax? It's not town tax, right?
It is for county property taxes.
County property tax. Okay, I'm not sure what it is.
The tax exemption I was talking about is on the county property tax. As a property owner, you pay county taxes, school taxes, town taxes, and fire and sometimes library district taxes. About half the towns in the county have this exemption. About half the school districts have this exemption, and some people, and for instance, the town of Washington and the Millbrook School District have it, but the county did not, and they asked for the county to have it. Now the county has it. Not all the towns, not all the school districts have it though.
Okay, so they'd have to pass it for the school district, is that correct?
Yes.
And that would be the school district that would pass it, or the town?
Both for their individuals. Town of Amenia, if they chose to have it, would have to pass it, and same with the Weebatuck School District if they wanted to have it.
So I do think someone needs to inform Ron Gazzoli about this, because I spoke to him about it, and he had no idea what I was talking about. So could someone please let Mr. Gazzoli know?
We don't have it, though. That's the
For the
problem.
county, we do.
Yeah,
Starting
the
March.
county, so your county taxes will be reduced as of March of 2013
Right.
for the 2013 year.
Okay,
not
so
for
then
this-
what I'm going to do is I'm going to start lobbying now for a tax reduction for disabled people for the, town and school, right?
Yes, what it is to give you a little history, is in 1998, the state legislature created exemptions. They created the low-income disabled person exemption. They also created the senior exemption. Most municipalities have the senior exemption already in place. Only about half of the Dutchess County towns and school districts did this for the low-income disabled ones. And so, if Amenia or Weebatuck or any other towns or school districts wanted to, they would have to pass a local law to allow this to go forward, and you would want to. I don't think you have enough time for this year. So you'd really be looking at 2014 for it to start, but that would basically be based on a local law.
Yeah, that would help us a lot, because I work 3 jobs, so just so that you know. All right. Now, next item on my agenda, Committee for Trail to the Train. I believe that we really need to activate opening a bank account, doing a benefit, getting the match going, And I was given money from Dan Corello. It was only $250, and it was when I was still initiating this as part of the Conservation Advisory Council. And I gave it to Mike Haggerty, who put it into the Harlem Valley Planning Partnership account, of which there is still $2,000. Now, I asked him for this money back, and he said, you guys would have to ask for it, because it's part of the town now. So somebody, and preferably I guess it's going to be Victoria Perotti, because she's in charge, should ask Mike Haggerty for that $250, which Mr. Corello, who lives in the old post office in Wassaic, donated for the Trail to the Train. And that should go into our initial deposit into an account that I believe we should open for our match. Now, I also believe that
Who has the $2,000?
the Harlem Valley Planning Partnership, which is now defunct. It was funded by the county.
But there's still an account.
But there's an account, which Mike Haggerty is in charge of, and there's $2,000 in the account. $250 of that is ours. So I'd like that to go into our account. I would also like to ask you guys if you could start activating and empowering us. I was the head of the Trail to the Train Committee for 3 years. To start doing something to raise money for your match. You have to have a $120,000 match. We have some very big talent in town. Bill Flood knows one of these rock and roll guys who just moved into town. Bowie and company could possibly be asked with their many connections to put on a benefit. I really think that it's happening this year, guys. We need to start raising that money. And I think we can do it, but we need to get some energy and juice going for it. So I'm willing to start stepping back into the plate in that role. But I was actually never even thanked when I left after working for 3 years, and when I left after working for 7 years as the head of the Conservation Advisory Council. So I do think you guys need to have a little bit better track record of working with volunteers who give a lot of their time, energy, and blood to the jobs, because I know a lot of people are resigning right now. I'm happy to do it, but I just want you to know that there's been a lack of appreciation, in my opinion, from a lot of people, not just me. So just leave it at that. So I'm happy to do it.
Do you want to revive that committee? Is that what you're telling us?
Well, there is a committee, but it's not. I want to start another committee. I want to start a committee just to create the match, just to raise money. I want to get a committee going to do a benefit, to go to people, to write grants, to go for the cash that we need to raise.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't know that there is an existing Trail to the Train committee. There was still
Dave Reagan.
Dave and Marty were on it, but I don't believe they've been acting as a committee
for
a long time.
Right. And that's a shame, because at this point we are still in the position of getting perks from Metro North, and Marty is involved with Metro North. So there needs to be a little fence mending here because of past things, which we won't go into.
So do you want to revive that committee? Is that what you're telling us?
I don't want to revive that committee. I want to
have
revive just a committee to raise money, just to do, and I want to work with Bill, and I want to work with Bowie and people there, and I want to help you with the match. I think that's what the job is right now. No, the DOT doesn't let us do anything else. I mean, 3 years ago, actually maybe 2.5 years ago, we were given permission, our committee, to raise money, to start negotiating the ROWs. That was before CELS was hired. So we were given permission by the DOT, by Carolyn Ryan, to negotiate agreements for the right-of-way with Mr. Zanino and Metro North, which would have been very easy for us to do because we had ins to both of those people. Now I'm hearing that that hasn't happened yet. So that disturbs me, you know, that it hasn't happened. And we have a disconnect between the community and the project. I was the main advocate for this trail. I initiated the project. I wrote all 3 grants. I'm willing to come back and do something and make it happen, but I have to have the full support of the town this time. I can't have the rug pulled out from under me like it was last time. So if you want me, you have to treat me right. That's all I want to say about that. So maybe think about it, discuss it amongst yourselves. I can make things happen, but it has to be real. And it can't be, you know, okay, you do all the work and at the last minute pull out the rug and now we're in charge and we don't do anything for 3 years. You know? I know Vicky's trying to do it, Victoria's trying to do a great job, and there's a lot of bureaucracy. But now there's time, we have to get this community behind this project. It's an $800,000 project. We really have to do that.
Which we applied for another grant for it. So at this point, we're
For how much?
$150,000.
From where?
Dutchess County.
When do we hear about it?
Any minute, I think.
No, next year.
Well,
Usually February, March.
this won't be long.
Well, we still could use the money from the benefit.
Sure, but Vicky, did we?
And we
have
should
to
get
talk
the-
to. Did you talk to them?
We will, we are prepared to open up an account at Community Foundation of Dutchess County. We need members of the public to come forward and support. It can't come from the town board, so it would be unrelated to the town.
Right.
And if you're willing to head that fundraising project up for the town, you would be as a, you know, you need a couple of more people to serve, get their names and addresses, and you'll be in charge of managing that account, so there will be tax deductible contributions.
Well, we need to have a board of directors appointed first.
Well, that's what she's,
That's
but
what
it's
I'm
not going to
offering
come
to
from the
do.
town board. She would have to round up her own group to help support
Well, yeah, but
her.
it's going to be more than just a rail trail.
Right, but that is what she is willing to do. So
Correct.
she would get her group together to handle
Because we only have
rail
how many
trail
directors?
extension. Well, it could be, as I understood from Andrea Reynolds, is that you would have groups, and if there was a group that wanted to, let's say, make improvements to the town hall, they would be their own group of people who would sign off on disbursements and handle fundraising for the town on behalf of town projects. So if she can find 2 or 3, 4 other people that are specifically interested only in the rail to trail, that's the fund that would be set up for those people to manage. If there are other funds, then I
But
assume
there's
there would
also,
be.
there will be a, from the way I understood, there's going to be a board of directors that will oversee the whole fund.
I think we could manage it 2 different ways, and it just depends on which direction
Because the
we
money
wanted to
for the
go.
rail trail will be set aside for the rail trail, for this building, or whatever it's done. Whatever group wants to raise money, that money is set aside.
So I'll find out from
All
Andrea
right.
what is the best way of going, whether there would be 3 people per board per fund, or whether it's an umbrella.
So
group
I'd like
that
to
would
make an
oversee.
appointment to meet with you, Vicky, or whoever else is involved, like Victoria,
let's follow
and
up.
discuss what is required to start this committee. And I'd be happy to get a board of directors together if that's what's required. Also, we did have our benefit last time at Alan Shokes. We raised out $8,000 and $13,000 for the trees, Trails and Trees,
40,000.
Friends of Amenia program, and I could approach Alan again about doing it there, and I think we should also think about involving the Westlake project with some kind of artwork, perhaps at the entrance or the, you know, exit, which is right next to Maxwell Mills. So there's a lot to think about right now, and I think somebody needs to head it up that's not related directly to the grant that Victoria is administrating, and Victoria has a lot on her plate already, so we'll make a date, and I'll call you, I'll email both of you.
Good.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Is everybody in agreement? You need to take a vote?
No?
I don't think at this point.
Okay.
At this point, no.
Okay, good. All right, next item on my agenda here is regarding the you know, unfortunately, I've been fortunately involved with the Transition Towns group, which is Mid-Hudson Hub, to look at food, water, and energy resilience from the ground up during times like Hurricane Sandy and other things like that. Poughkeepsie, Rhinebeck, Kingston, we had our last meeting at Omega at the, so it's a very interesting movement. It started in Ireland. It's called Transition Towns, and it's spread all over the United States. And what it is, it's volunteer citizens providing information to towns, and after they gather the information for water, food, energy, you know, they do what's called an unleashing. They did this in Woodstock. I was asked to be the watershed coordinator for Woodstock. And then they give the information to the public and to the town, and the town decides if they want to activate any of those things. It's sort of like your, you know, all hazards mitigation, but it's a little bit more active in terms of involving people, and it's quite exciting. And there's a big group. There were 25 people at Omega last Thursday. They had a meeting just 2 days ago in Kingston. So I have been going to these meetings, and they have a website now, and they have something called EngageHudsonValley.com Sustainability. I do feel that, unfortunately, Dutchess County was underprepared for Hurricane Sandy due to no fault of their own, really. It was a sort of shocking event for everybody. But in our case here, if it had been worse, it might not have been so good. As you're hearing, you know, the Wasaik Fire Department is challenged, doesn't have enough volunteers. People were told that for shelter they would have to go to either Beacon or Red Hook, which was totally unrealistic. I think we have a great gym here. It would be great if we get much more sustainability for emergencies here with a generator and water and food. I know that in Sharon, because I interviewed and wrote a story about this, and I spoke to the town supervisor, they provided hot meals 3 a day for 3 days for 2,000 people who had no electricity. And they had 3 families from Amenia and 1 from Dover. They went over to Sharon to get help. Why? Because they had a generator in the firehouse and in the building behind the firehouse. And they have cots and they have showers. So I think we really need to think about that. We should think about having a shower. We should think about having an active kitchen. It used to be the Wasaik Firehouse, but it may not be able to be again. It's a really serious subject. A lot of people are talking about it, and we can reactivate. I know Bill's been thinking about it a lot and has talked about a generator. So it's a good time. It's a teachable moment after Hurricane Sandy for all of us to think about more resilience for food, water, and shelter for our towns. So I just wanted to raise that issue, and I will bring back to you as I get more, and I'm going to be trained in the Transition Towns movement in February. I'll bring back more information for you. And let's see, I guess that's about it. I just wanted to say that in one window in the gym has a towel in it, and it's got a big air leak, because I take the Zumba class, so you might want to look at that. I don't know who's in charge of maintenance, but you're losing heat there. So thank you very much. But I do think it's important, I just want to say about the volunteers. There was a volunteer supposedly thanking meeting under Wayne. That was the last one I saw. And the only person who was publicly thanked was George Fenn, who was wonderful and deserves to be thanked over and over again. But what should have happened is that everybody who was a volunteer should have been acknowledged and read off of a list of. You know, and I think if people are putting hours and hours of their time into serving the town and helping, and I did that for 7 years as the chair of the Conservation Advisory Council and got this town moving quite a bit forward on the environmental aspect of things, I think they need to be publicly acknowledged. If they resign, every year they should be acknowledged. You know, this is a time when volunteerism is waning. We're going out of the age of volunteerism. You can see it with the Wasaik Fire Department. So if you want to hold on to the last volunteers that you have to really stroke them and treat them well. It's part of being your leaders in the town, to treat the volunteers well, make them feel appreciated. It's really worth it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You've been sitting here twice.
Thank you. That was our
2 p.m.
I'm Stephanie Murphy. I live on Depot Hill in Amenia, and I'm with the Amenia Rescue Squad. So when I first came down here, I was pretty upset, and now I'm not quite sure why. When Robbie Boyle was here talking about the Wassaic Fire Company's issues, I just wanted to let you know that the people that you should be talking to are not necessarily Lenny Morrison and Bob Satori, because they handle the county car on the fire end. The person you want to talk to is Hallie Kraft, who is County Car 73. He handles Millerton, Amenia, Wassaic, Dover, Pine Plains, Stanfordville. He's kind of like our liaison to the county. And Kathy Tetmeyer is overseeing, she's the second in command.
I've spoken to her.
Yeah. Now, I also wanted to say that you set up a meeting, and I wanted to ask you again, because I was on my way down here. This meeting, what exactly are you going to be talking about? Because I think the people that you have invited, or you want to invite, are not necessarily the right people. Because in Amenia, the fire company owns the ambulance. The insurance, the ambulance maintenance, that kind of thing, the district pays. They have agreed to pay that, but the day-to-day runnings of the rescue squad are under the fire company. Fire company owns the ambulance. Wassaic is totally different. The taxpayers pay for their whole operation, the fire and the EMS.
Mhm.
So if you go to my district, they're going to say you have to go to the fire company. And I want to know what you want to cover in this meeting on the 18th, because I think I was driving down here, I didn't catch.
Well, we really didn't come to, we're going to start the discussions about how we're going to handle, obviously, a paid rescue squad. So that's what we're looking at. You know, part-time, it's not, I don't think, there's no way we can afford a full-time one. So at this point, it's going to have to, I would assume, it's going to be a volunteer, paid, whatever it's going to have to be, service. I would assume, I don't want to see the volunteers be lost. You know, we do have, I think you have more than what Wassaic does, from what I understand.
Yes.
So that's what that's the conversation I think we should have, at least to start, see where we are with this thing.
Now, you guys are covering calls for Wassaic. That was my understanding.
Well, it's kind of misleading when Robbie got up here. Northern Dutchess Paramedics is, well, now they're called NDP, but they're an ALS service, Advanced Life Support.
Right.
Wassaic and Amenia are Basic Life Support, BLS.
Mm-hmm.
NDP years ago, several years ago, entered under an agreement with Wassaic unofficially, and now it's kind of an official thing. Every call that Wassaic gets dispatched for, on the EMS side, NDP also gets dispatched for.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yes. In Amenia, they have 4 priority calls that the county dispatches. Priority 1, 2, those are your life-threatening calls, potentially life-threatening calls, based on what the caller tells the 911 taker, the call taker. Priority 3 and 4 may be an auto accident, person who's fallen needs lift assistance. It's a BLS function. In Amenia, NDP is dispatched on priority 1 and 2 calls. Amenia is dispatched on all 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 calls. If we can't get out, NDP automatically handles that call. It's kind of confusing, I guess, so if you haven't been in the business for a while.
Actually, those terms are familiar because I attended the meetings when they were going to consolidate, you know, and through the several towns, the meetings they had in Pine Plains. You know, I was part of those meetings, and they went through, you know, how many hours, how many calls, and, you know, the different types of calls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, went through a lot of that information.
Well, that's good. You're ahead of a lot of people. I wanted to stress the point that the two districts are totally different. They're just really different, and they need to be approached differently. One of the things that I did agree with what Robbie said was the ambulance district. That's something that I was looking into on my own, and that would be combining an ambulance service for both areas.
In one district.
One district, and then you can collect taxes under that. So like right now, our bandages, our stretcher, if the stretcher goes tomorrow, we hope that we have enough donated money to purchase that.
Right.
It's not coming from the taxpayers. But that's something that I would like to look at more, but it's very complicated. It's a widespread thing out in the Midwest. They have counties that form districts and they pay it. The Northeast, I was just learning, is one of the few regions in the United States that actually depends on volunteers. We have 7 currently, and I have 4 right now taking an EMT class. So that's very good. It's 180 hours. It's not something that you can just jump into and, you know, it's not an easy thing. So yes.
You do a great job.
Thank you.
There's no question. I spoke to Northern Dutchess.
Yes.
And they, and other ambulance services, they base their price on call times. On, it could be 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10-minute response times. So, which is a little weird to me anyway, but also Northern Dutchess, if they have to park one here on a full-time basis, that's obviously more money.
That's what I'm thinking Wasaika is going for. They want to guarantee that that area has an ambulance.
Well, if we do the whole town, then that's obviously something we have to look at, both districts, because
Right.
they go all the way to Tally Ho, correct?
Yes.
Wasaika. So you go all the way to the town line, Smithfield, right? So you have a big area. It's just as big.
Yeah.
So that's something we're going to have to discuss with, you know, when we get to the, with everybody, if that's what, you know, what the response time is, because I don't think that we should be paying a paid service if they're going to be in Stanfordville and they're going to get dispatched from Stanfordville to here. That defeats the purpose, I would think. Dover has a full-time Northern life support. They pay full during the day.
Yes. They have a basic life support ambulance.
Correct.
If you go to Pauling, Pauling has an advanced life support unit.
Correct.
Different price structures.
Correct. And I went to a mayor's and supervisors meeting. There was an accident in Wasaig that they pulled the ambulance service from Pauling, and the supervisor had a fit that they're paying, I don't know, $200,000 or $300,000 for this ambulance to stay in Pauling, but they do have a mutual aid system that works, that it was called, and he was having a fit that they called this ambulance out of there. But once we got to the county level, I spoke to the county. He was obviously wrong in what he was complaining about. You know, they do have the mutual aid system that does work, that you can call back and forth and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
I've heard that about him, and I think that's very unfortunate.
well, it's happened again.
Yes.
They pulled him again. So, and there was no complaint this time, the second time. So
It'll happen because NDP has no units available.
Correct.
Or
But-
Millbrook doesn't have any units available.
Right. Does Millbrook have Northern Dutchess too, or no?
No, they have TransCare.
TransCare.
It's something you have to look at the nitty-gritty parts of it, because NDP will quote you 2 prices, let's say, and I won't go into those figures, but it's the lowest price may be there. We'll charge you this, and we can guarantee you a response in 6 to 8 minutes.
Correct.
But where are they responding from?
Correct.
You know, that is a huge issue. We've had them respond from New Milford. And, you know, that's kind of ridiculous. It's not what I want.
Right. Well, I don't think that's what the town, but we'll get there. I would assume, you know, if someone, God forbid, dies because we have no ambulance here,
Right.
you know, the lawsuits are just going to start. So I would assume that's what's going to happen. When I was in the fire department, it's completely different.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, the requirements to be an EMT, well, I don't know when you were in there, because I wasn't a part of it.
We
But-
basically threw them in the back of the ambulance and hauled them to Sharon, and that's basically, we had first aid, and that was about what we did.
And a lot of people think that's what it is now, and it's not.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. People just don't have the time to commit to taking a class.
We did take classes, we took a lot of classes. So it was, but we did a pretty good job. A lot of people survived. So,
So what I will do tomorrow, because I don't have the contact information with me right now, is send you Hallie Craft's
sure.
contact information.
Send me the email.
I'll give you mine.
I have yours.
Contacted
Yep.
you earlier in the year. I like to say I've been an EMT since 1994. It's not a new issue. It's been going on. But, you know, since I am also a taxpayer, I'd like to make sure that we keep the taxes as low as possible and people get the services that they're expecting reasonably, you know, so.
well, you're charged today, correct? If you have insurance, you're charged.
NDP, if they transport you, NDP will charge your insurance. And I think that if you don't have insurance, they will still continue to bill you. You know, we'll take what your insurance will pay, and you have to pay the rest. It's, you know, I don't know exactly what their billing structure is, but they bill your insurance company. And Robbie is right, fire districts cannot
Correct.
bill at all, but an ambulance district could and that would help to offset a lot of the costs.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I
Can you
answer.
make arrangements to have the fire department here on Tuesday?
You want the president?
That's who controls the ambulance, correct?
Yeah, essentially, yes.
That's Chucky?
Yes,
Okay.
so I can contact
I've
him.
talked to Chucky about it in the past months.
And you can ask Johnny Culligan. He's been on the commissioners for
Yep.
for a long time.
I've
I'm
talked
sure.
to Johnny about it. I've talked to a lot of people about it, so. I'm very familiar with it because the same issue was 30, 40 years ago was the same issue. So it's just gotten worse. We were told then that it would happen.
Yes.
So, I blame the county for dropping the ball. They should have picked up the ball, but it's just not, it's not happening.
I would say that it's not just a EMS issue either, because they have restructured a lot of the firefighting classes. So they're longer, they're more intense. Marco D'Antonio went through it I think it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago. You know, I don't know how old Marco is, but it whooped him. I mean, it's very, very intense. It's not something you take lightly. And so people are losing, fire departments around are losing interior and exterior firefighters. Warsake is one of them. And we are as well. I mean, people come in, they say, oh, I want to volunteer, but then they don't do anything. Or they realize it's too much for them. The classes are too much. What we ask of them as a member is too much. So you're not replenishing anything, you know.
Right, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming down.
Yeah, thank you.
We have to go into an executive session.
Is there any more public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No.
It's about, and I apologize if I didn't hear this right, but in regards to Dutchess Community College, are they paying the town for the use of the space that they?
No,
Why not?
they have no money.
They have
It's
no
just-
money. Dutchess
It's not, it's through Dutchess, it's through the Northeast Community Center. That's where it's being done through.
So that's why you have to do a special agreement,
Correct.
but they don't pay
No.
any, and that's not a conflict with all the other people that have to pay?
They're providing a service to the town. I think that's the agreement, and they're using,
To the town, in other words, the
well,
students?
to the residents of the
I
town.
remember, the students that can enroll in this English class are all Amenia residents, is that it?
Correct.
Just Amenia residents?
I don't know if it's just Amenia residents. I don't really know if it's totally Amenia residents, but I think it is.
I would think it would be open to anyone, though. We can't stop people not from Amenia coming.
I'm sorry to hear.
I would think.
You guys have really
I would
gotta
think
do
people
more of those
other.
microphones. Pardon?
I would think people outside of Amenia would be just as welcome to show up to this class.
They already have one in Dover, they have one in Millerton, they have one, now they'll have one here. So 3 towns in Eastern Dutchess are doing it.
And they have one at St. Thomas's Church on Monday nights.
Right.
ESL. Because they have a big Latino population.
Correct.
And in regards to, and I haven't got the final copy of the budget that I know of, but the senior program, did it stay at $5,000? Do you remember?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, it did.
And who's going to run the program?
I have no idea.
For what, the buses?
For the senior program.
No idea?
No.
Well,
They have to get
that
someone
program went from
to do
nothing to $5,000. It was never $5,000 at any time in the past that I know. It was always $3,000.
No, it was
and
8.
There was
It was 8,000.
It was 8.
At one time?
Yes.
Yeah, for several years in a row. It was $8,000.
But I would, because some of the I have run into a few, and I don't see that many, but I was wondering, who was going to take charge of this program with the fact that you have now added more money. And we tried to save money at one time, so to speak, when Pat ran. So, but you're going to hire somebody? It's not coming under recreation?
It might.
Actually, the $5,000 is the amount you pay for the transportation for the trips. I mean, someone...
Well, what did you pay before?
$8,000.
$8,000.
And we used to pay $3,000.
Oh,
and I
it
say
depends.
we because
Well,
it's
that
the number of time I
depends.
remember.
That dollar amount depends on how many trips you're going to take.
Correct.
I
No,
mean,
no, they
the
cut
more
back.
trips, the higher the amount is going to be.
We cut back.
Well, we did,
cut
from
back.
8 to 5.
And
Last year, there was nothing.
That's right. Well, I would hope you would know who you're hiring.
Well, we're not ready yet. As soon as we still have a couple weeks before it takes off.
I pay my way when I go. The taxpayers don't have to pay if they don't. But there are people who can.
Correct.
It's for,
Everybody
it's only
pays.
for the
Everybody's going to pay
transportation.
for the
That's
trip.
right.
Right.
We pay a certain percentage. Right?
Correct.
Or
Yes.
all of it, or whatever. if we
Correct.
go.
Right. Okay. We need to go into an executive session to discuss some legal matters and some personnel matters.
So who's going to make the motion?
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session.
I'll second.